Hey Shutter Clickers, we're back here in front of the Wall of Fame, and it's part 2 of our trip to historic Washington State Park. Today we'll be looking at a doctor's home and a general's home, and in between those two we're going to look at a really big magnolia tree. So sit back, relax, and listen to our guides as they take us through historic Washington State Park. Enjoy now.
'24, 12 years before this was actually a state. So because of this being a town in 1824, and this road started in St. Louis, Missouri, the reason I call it the interstate of the day is because it went all the way down to Mexico. Now, understanding that on the other side of the Red River, about 15 miles down the highway, was Mexico.
Oh, okay. You got me.
Can you give those stats again? 1,000 people and all that stuff? Taverns?
Doctors,
Let's see, 17 lawyers, 14 doctors, 12 taverns, 8 blacksmiths, and 5 churches.
And 1,000 people.
1,000 people living in town proper at its height, and between 7,000 and 10,000 people within a 10-mile radius.
Wow.
All right, this is Dr. Purdum's home. Now, Dr. Purdum did have an office in town, but he also did see some patients here when it was an emergency and necessary. That's a picture of him there. He had like this mile-long name, and I can't remember all of it. Just Dr. James Purdum is all I can remember. But anyway, okay, so back in the 1800s, they did a lot of herbal medicines. They had the allopaths and the homeopaths and things of that witchcraft, as what some people called it. But they did that kind of thing back then because...
Oh, that's interesting. Daytime visit, $1.50. Nighttime visit, $3.
double.
And this
within town.
Within town. And this was what year?
1836.
Our hernia operation was $300. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Well.
Now.
Of course, mine was about 27,000. So.
Yeah, but back at a time when the
That's
average
$300
person
a lot
was
of money.
only making 25 cents a week.
I know.
You know.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that'd be like, what'd you say, 36,000?
It's 27,000.
27,000.
Yeah, well, this would be 100 grand.
Yeah.
Today, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there's something I want to read you before we move on because it's...
What was the preempt to that?
Okay, this is from the book, The Life and Adventures of an Arkansas Doctor. It tells a tongue-in-cheek of the trials and tribulations of a rural Arkansas physician, young Dr. Rattlehead. So Rattlehead's invitation to practice in Arkansas says, "I don't know what we'll do in our section if a doctor don't settle here. We have none nearer than Tadpole Slough, and that are 20 mile. Sally got her leg broke the other day, and I sent for Dr. Cadley. The leg was so bad when he got to her, he said it must be sawed off. By jolly, the first thing I knowed, he'd off the leg, and the wrong one at that. The leg which were broke got well without any trouble."
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to regret that.
All right, this place is called the Royston House. It was built in 1845. And there is a huge magnolia tree. Look at that sucker. Holy mackerel. This might be the biggest one in Arkansas.
I think she said it was.
We'll check for you. But we think that's the biggest one in Arkansas. I think she told us that. But it is huge. Man, you just... Wow, look at this. It's a jungle in here. Okay. Well, this is the Royston house, guys. Let's go in and see what they got. Home of General Grandison Delaney Royston, President of the Constitutional Convention. There's his great-great-great-great-grandson.
How are y'all doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. Welcome to the Royston Townhome.
Thank you very much.
My name is Mike and I'll be your guide for this site today. We have some pictures here on the wall of General Royston and his wife Mary. He was originally from Tennessee and came to Washington about 1832. And right after he hung his shingle out for service as an attorney, his whole life changes. He starts rubbing elbows with all sorts of important people. But it was about 1834, he was in Little Rock working on a case, and he comes across a young lady that's 10 years his junior. Her name was Clarissa Mary Bates. And in some of his memoirs, he talks about how it was love at first sight. The two met, they courted for a while, and then at the beginning of January of 1835, that's when they got married. And after they got married and had this house built in 1845, pretty much they lived out the rest of their days here in Washington. The house has been also called the Four Seasons, and the reason being is because of some of the stained glass that we have in the home. To each side, we've got panels that represent the four seasons. Green for spring, red for summer, magenta for fall, and then blue for winter. And when Royston integrated this concept into his home, he basically elevated the whole community because not everybody had this sort of thing. But another interesting feature to the glass is if you get real close to the blue glass and look through it, it looks kind of like there's snow out there on the ground.
Oh, I bet he missed the snow, huh?
Right now we do, for sure.
That's neat.
Yeah, it blocks the green light, green wavelength.
The entry hall that we're in, it was a space that was used for entertaining, also a place of rest. When the Roystons lived here, though, it was much more refined. There was probably European wallpaper on the walls, crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. So what we have today is just an echo or shadow of what it once was. This room is representing the children's room, and there was a total of 7 children born to the family. And in Royston's memoirs, he talks about his second son, Charles, about how that boy had so much energy. He was running outside all over the place, and on occasion running inside. But they were always chasing him. As time passes and things happen in the world, when the Civil War comes around, Chase, or Charles, as he was called, becomes a general during the Civil War itself. And then after the Civil War becomes a medical physician. So it's kind of interesting to see where some of them start out at.
Sure.
This space originally was not a room at all, but it was a porch. It was just a little bit before the Civil War that Royston saw a need for more room, and that's when this room was constituted. That door goes to a closet, and then this door would have taken one out to a sub-porch, which is a private exit and entrance for those that may be staying here as guests. We also have in here some artifacts. The European Library with the books in it are original to the Royston family. And then we also have this law desk, which for many years downtown Washington is what Royston practiced law off of. Also through his life, he held many titles of office, such as Speaker of the House of the General Assembly, Senator of Arkansas, and then lastly, President of the Reconstruction Convention in 1874. This is where all the food would be served. If you look through the window there's a fence, and just beyond it, there used to be a large kitchen. In pre-Civil War, when food was finished, the slaves would have brought it into this door, and once everyone was seated, that's when the food would have been served. Quite possibly even on plateware like what we have here, which is called flow blue china from England. And lots of people think rural Arkansas, early 19th century, everyone walked around barefooted and wore bearskin.
Well, I hope you enjoyed part 2 of Historic Washington State Park. In a couple of days, I'll have another video out, be part 3, the last part, and we'll be looking at a print shop and a gun museum. Plus, we'll have some pictures of the houses surrounding the area. Some really old houses built way back in the 1840s and 1850s. And I think you'll enjoy that. And in the meantime, you know what to do. You gotta give me a thumbs up. There it is, thumbs up. You gotta subscribe, share, and keep that shutter clicking. Bye now, have a great day.